Support for Sports Page is provided by the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jennies emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower floor of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for Sports Page is provided by 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, and WarrensburgRadio.com. 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, and WarrensburgRadio.com, the radio home of UCM Athletics. It's homecoming week at UCM, and coming up next here on Sports Page, Mules football coach Jim Svoboda joins us to talk about an impressive win at Central Oklahoma and this week's homecoming showdown with Northeastern State. Jennies soccer is ranked 14th in the country, and tonight we'll visit with Lewis Theobald, the head coach of the Jennies, as his squad's in pursuit of their fourth straight MIAA title. In our Sports Page Spotlights, we'll meet Mules sophomore linebacker Ricky Spratley and the reigning MIAA Defensive Player of the Week from Jennies soccer, Kristin Bright. All of that and more is straight ahead on this week's edition of Sports Page. Hello again, everybody. Thanks for watching the University of Central Missouri Sports Page. I'm Sean Jones, and joining me to kick off the show is Mules football coach Jim Svoboda. Coach Svoboda, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Sean.
Great win on the road last Saturday. Team really played well in all three phases.
Yeah, I was really proud of our kids. We were really executing at a high level, and I was concerned going into the game because we've been dealt a couple of tough losses this year, and you begin to wonder how that's affecting the psyche of your team and their confidence level and all that. And well, we had a good trip, and we came out right away on offense, and we were just really executing at a high level, and defense was getting the ball back for us. Made a quantum leap in special teams, so it was all in all a really good game.
You talk about the character of this team an awful lot, and I thought the character was on display when you're playing a game. Let's be honest, maybe 500 fans are in attendance. It's over 6 hours by bus from campus. You'd lost 2 in a row. Your team came out in really business-like fashion and played at a high level all day long.
Yeah, it was. We had a good week of practice, and it's kind of back to playing football for the reasons you started playing it in the first place, because you love it. It was a beautiful day to play. We had an opponent that was hungry to win, and they really had fun with it.
Hayden Hawk, 23 for 26 passing, 321 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Razor sharp, and finally earns MIAA Offensive Player of the Week honors.
Well, that's a couple of times he's had a whopping 3 incompletions for a whole game, and he just really is a special kid. He's just a natural thrower of the football. He's naturally accurate, and of course, kid's got to run good routes, and he's got to have time to do those things as well, and he'd be the first one to acknowledge those players around him.
5 straight scoring drives in the game of 1 minute and 46 seconds or less. We're talking about drives that encapsulate 89 yards, 66 yards, and everything in between. That showed that your offense was on point.
Yeah, and it shows that the offensive line did a good job of creating some seams for the running game, which was as good as we've done for a while, blocking-wise up front in terms of the run. And like I tell our players, most of those big plays come from second effort. Once in a while you see that wide-open guy that runs down the field, and we had a couple of those too, but a lot of times it's that extra block, it's that extra effort by a skill guy.
Well, as we continue to visit, we'll look back at highlights of the Mules in Central Oklahoma last Saturday from Wantland Stadium in Edmond, Oklahoma. Defense forces a 3-and-out. Offense rolls down the field. Heavy dose of that guy, Levance Taylor, 153 yards rushing, coach, a career high.
Career day for him.
Certainly a good day for the Mules, off to a great start, but Central Oklahoma fights back. They'll march down the field. But the defense coach here really bending but not breaking. One thing I did notice on these first couple drives, some hard hits, kind of setting the tone for the day.
Yeah, we've been playing physical all year, and other than the drive right before halftime, defense really did a good job.
So it's 7-3 at that point. Didn't take long, though, right here for the offense to answer. Nice rocket screen, as I call it. Anthony Kirkwood got him in space. I noticed you were able to get Anthony and Levance in space a lot, and when you do, it's something to behold.
Yeah, it was by design. AK's an explosive kid, and so is Levance.
So here we see the Mules on the drive, and there you see Levance Taylor, 2 drives, 2 scores, 4 plays, 66 yards, That took a minute, 6 seconds, and the Mules weren't done. As fumble there, but a good recovery. Good hands there by Trevor McAllister to keep the offense on the field. And there you see Levance. He's going to run into your living room. It's fun when he gets the corner, is it not?
Yeah, when he gets the edge. There's not a lot of guys that are going to catch him.
There you see a nice play action, and I love this. Set up the screen, got the blockers out front. Great block there. And Levance rolling into your living room.
Alan Sherling out there.
Yeah.
We put him in for that play because Trevor got hurt. He did a great job.
And there's Cullen Rosine in the back of the end zone for the touchdown, the junior from Knob Noster. At this point, the Mules feeling pretty comfortable, up 21-3. Now this is a drive, Coach, that you weren't happy with, I know. You see Jake Gandera there on the run for Central Oklahoma. You're up 21-3, but then Central Oak unleashes an 89-yard scoring drive of their own, and I know you weren't a particularly happy coach about how this happened.
Well, you know, we had just gone up 21-3, and, you know, you're feeling pretty good about it, and then they marched right down the field, and you know, give them credit. They executed pretty well on that drive.
They did miss the extra point, so you get it back. You've got basically a minute 25 to go, and I'm not sure what your plan was, but after that run, I know the plan was we're going to score.
That was exactly right, and wow, it was impressive. Kids really handled the clock well and executed well, and that was big.
6 plays, 89 yards, 1 minute and 14 seconds, 35-yard pass, Hawk to Lloyd, extra point from Gebhard Good, 27-9. So that answer took a minute 14 and came with 15 seconds on the clock. So obviously the answer you were looking for. There's Chuck Clemens, the dean of the coaching staff, his 15th year coaching the D-line, and I thought second half, as we look at some offensive highlights, your defense was really spectacular.
Yeah, I think that was the third game. We've had a shutout in the second half, so they did a good job.
Well, the stat on it is the last 5 games, it's 59-10. Your defense has allowed 10 points the last 5 games in the second half, so that's
keep that up.
Yeah, let's keep that up. Pretty impressive stuff. There's Ron Reed Lloyd. Talk about impressive stuff. 72 yards, Coach. 3 plays, 75 yards, a minute 3, 34-9. We got to talk about Ron Reed Lloyd. 6th straight 100-yard receiving game, 100-yard plus receiving game, 127 yards per game receiving, 137, I should say, in the top 6 in the country. He's just having a spectacular season.
He really is, and he just keeps getting better. And you saw that play there. He just pulled away from their whole secondary. A couple of those kids are pretty fast, too.
And down the stretch of this game, you got the opportunity to play some different guys, too, which was really cool. But there's Ron Reed. You know, he is playing in just his 2nd season in the program, Coach, and he is moving up the charts for career receiving yards, total receptions, touchdown receptions, and is going to leave his mark on this program. There's Evan Campbell, sophomore from Staley. He got some opportunities, looked really good running the football. Yeah,
it was cool. We got some young guys in there. They were excited to play, that's for sure. There's another young guy, redshirt freshman.
6'4", 215 pounds from Raytown, Justice McMullen.
Good-looking kid.
Right out of Central Casting, no question about it. There's Hayden with a run to the outside. Had a nice day of total offense as well. Picked up some first downs with his feet. There's Evan. The guy waits on his block so well.
He does, and he's got such great acceleration. Some guys do that, and they look like they're dancing. He does it, and he bursts.
Yeah, he looks like he's just intelligently waiting to find the little seam he needs, and then goes. And there's a nice play by Alex Perlin, the captain on defense. There you go, quick hitter to the outside, and again, the Mules racking up some pretty big numbers. Opportunity for a lot of guys to play here in the second half, offensively and defensively. There's Ricky Spratley. How about 40 tackles the last 3 games for him?
Well, happy with him, and he's become a nice leader for us on defense.
Mike Peterson, the opportunity to play some quarterback, one of the guys that really epitomizes what it means to be a Mule. Hands off there to Ray Harris, 18 yards. That's 7 plays, 70 yards. That was a time-consuming drive of 2 minutes and 49 seconds, and at that point it was 48-16. And again, guys getting the opportunity to play. Garrett Fugate got the chance to play when he hit the edge. He takes the victory knee there, but when he hit the edge, Coach, that was something to behold as well.
Yeah, just real excited to see what that kid can do. He's a big, strong, fast guy. He's got a powerful arm, and he's making his mark.
There you see the final numbers as the Mules beat Central Oklahoma 48-16. Hayden Hawk was 23 for 26 passing for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns, earning MIAA Offensive Player of the Week honors. Levance Taylor from Raytown had 17 carries for a career-high 153 yards and 2 scores. Ron Reed Lloyd had 8 catches for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's currently 6th in Division II in receiving yards per game. Ricky Spratley had 13 tackles. That's now 40 in the last 3 games. And with the win, the Mules are now 3-4 overall and 2-4 in the MIAA. And we appreciate Coach Svoboda stopping by to fill us in on the victory over UCO. And now we all set our sights ahead to homecoming. 2013 at UCM. As this Saturday at 1:30, the Mules will host the Riverhawks from Northeastern State. We'll have the broadcast for you on 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, and WarrensburgRadio.com beginning at 12:10. Of course, a lot of great homecoming activities in Warrensburg. The parade begins at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and then, of course, the big football game at 1:30. The Mules taking on a Northeastern State team that is winless in 2013. The Riverhawks have been plagued by some key injuries. Joel Rockmore, their all-conference tailback from a year ago, injured early in the season, and their starting quarterback, Johnny Deaton, who was a transfer from Oklahoma State, he went down in game number 1. So the Riverhawks have been relying on some backups so far this season, and they've not been able to get over the hump. Now, last year, when the Mules went down to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, for the first matchup in several seasons against the Riverhawks in their first year in the MIAA, the Mules actually jumped out to a pretty comfortable lead, but then they were outscored 17-0 in the second half last year, and Northeastern State stunned the Mules 24-23 in Tahlequah. It was the Riverhawks' first win of the season. Mules went on to drop 2 of their final 3 contests, so it was kind of a watershed game for both teams near the end of last season. The Mules won last week in convincing fashion over Central Oklahoma. They need to carry that forward into this homecoming contest. They'll have a great crowd behind them to help them out in the game. UCM, of course, always drawing a great crowd for homecoming. Joel Rockmore not available this year. As I mentioned, he ran for 121 yards against the Mules 1 season ago. The Mules have never beaten Northeastern State in football. They've played 9 times dating back to 1962. 1 game was given to the Mules after the fact. The 1986 team actually fell to Northeastern State, but Northeastern State had to forfeit that game due to use of ineligible players. So in the record books it says 8-1, but on the field it's 9-0. So not only do the Mules have a chance to make it a happy homecoming for UCM alumni and friends, they also have a chance at a little history as they take on Northeastern State and try to get the first win in program history. Again, that's a 1:30 kick Saturday from Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field, homecoming 2013. Mules 3-4, 2-4 in the league, trying to get back to 500 on the season. 2 games left to be played following this homecoming contest. The Mules will travel out to Kearney, Nebraska on November 2nd. That is a noon kick. They did announce that kick last week. So the Mules and Lopers on November 2nd at noon, and then back home on November 9th to close out the season against Fort Hays State. If the Mules can bounce back and do a better job than they did a year ago against the Riverhawks and exact some revenge for that loss, that'd be the 2nd in a row. That would be a win streak for the Mules, and then a chance to hopefully win 4 in a row to close the season with this very young team taking a lot of momentum into the offseason. Step 2 of that, homecoming Saturday against Northeastern State. 1:30 is the kickoff at Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field. Coming up next, we'll shine the student-athlete spotlight on Mules sophomore linebacker Ricky Spratley. He has really been playing well of late. He's 4th in the MIAA in tackles, and 40 of those tackles have come in the last 3 weeks. We'll talk to Ricky next right here on Sports Page. And welcome back to Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. In this segment, we shine the UCM student-athlete spotlight on Mules sophomore linebacker Ricky Spratley.
I actually got started with football when I was really young, about 8 years old. My mom got me into it, and she always just suggested that I just go out and get active since a young age, and just been playing since I was just a little kid. My favorite linebacker is Patrick Willis. He plays for the San Francisco 49ers, and he went to Ole Miss, which is a lot of my family went there, and I've always been just huge fans, and he was a great player for him for years, and so I just look up to him and I try to just simulate my game off of his. I chose Red because it's just the right fit for me. I mean, I came here on a visit and I went a couple other places, but I just got a good feeling when I came here to Central, and all the coaches, they really made it just feel like home, and I got a really great feeling about this program and all the special guys here. I feel like we could just do some really great things. I'd say the main difference between this year's team and last year's team is just the overall just, I guess, character of it. There's a lot more positive energy. I feel like started out kind of rough this year. Didn't do as well as we would have liked to or we thought we could have. But the character of the team is not, there's no quitting any of us, no quitting any of my teammates either. And we all just go out every game and our goal is to just win, and we play as hard as we can and just do our absolute best. I have a great relationship with the coaches. Like I said, from the moment I first got here, when they started recruiting me, they've always treated me really well. And Coach Clemens was a great recruiter coming out of high school. Like I said, they really made it feel like home, and this was the place to be. And I knew right from my visit that I wanted to go here. I'm very superstitious, absolutely. I don't know if I should say any of them on camera. I don't know when people just come up now, but I like to wear leggings. I like to wear leggings. Every year I've won, or every game I've won leggings, I've done pretty well. And I always have a certain guy do my spat on my feet, and then I always have a cross on my left wrist for my grandpa, and I just try to play for him. I guess personal goals for me is just to, I don't have anything specific, just to be the best player that I can for this team. And I mean, ultimately, it's just the goal is to win games, and my goal is just to finish out the season and do my part to help the team get to victory. Just overall, I feel like what we can do to get better is just finish out the games, and we've had a lot of really close games to where you know, we gotta just find a way to get it done, and it doesn't matter how we got there, but we put ourselves in that situation throughout each game, and at the end of the day, you can't really blame anyone. You just got to figure out a way to just get the win, and this offseason I feel like we're really going to focus on just learning how to just really finish and really just get the job done. I love my teammates. And that's one thing that's really cool about this school and this team in general, is just that everyone here is really so close, and we used to call ourselves, you know, Mule Brothers, and that's just not a word for us, you know, that's something that's real, and we all really treat each other like brothers, and we're all really close, and we all hang out outside of football too, and it really truly is like a family. You know, there's nothing really in particular. Like you said, we're so busy with just football and school, so most of the time that I get off, I'm just using it to just relax, you know, and just enjoy myself. But I mean, we're all kind of into video games a little bit, you know, secretly kind of nerds, you know, off the field a little bit, I guess. And some of us get into some really big, like, Call of Duty games, and stuff gets kind of personal a little bit. They take it pretty real, so it's pretty fun to watch them sometimes. Some of the team goals, like the main thing was just to finish, and this season we're just working on just finishing out these games. I mean, we kind of fell short of our goals a little bit, I guess, this year. We were wanting to, you know, be MIAA champions, and we're just looking to finish out this year and just come back even stronger next year. I mean, we're a young team, and we got a lot of talent, and people better not sleep on us.
The sophomore from St. Louis de Smet has 40 tackles the last 3 weeks, including 13 in last Saturday's win over UCO. His 67 stops this season are fourth in the MIAA, and his 3 forced fumbles lead the league. Outstanding numbers when you consider that Spratley will play in just his 18th career game this Saturday as the Mules host Northeastern State in the homecoming game here at UCM. Coming up next on Sports Page, we'll take a look back at how Central Missouri's fall sports teams performed this past week, and we'll visit with the head coach of the 14th-ranked Jennies soccer team, Lewis Theobald. All of that's on the way when Sports Page continues right after this. And once again, thanks for watching Sports Page here on KMOS-TV. Coming up in just a moment, we'll visit with Jennies soccer coach Lewis Theobald. But first, let's take a look at how the Mules and Jennies performed this past week. And we start with the Jennies volleyball team. They picked up an impressive 3-0 win over 12th-ranked Washburn on Saturday at Lee Arena in Topeka. Taylor Goodness had 15 kills in the win. Setter Julia Bates had 40 assists and 7 kills in the match that moved the Jennies to 22-0 and 8-0 in the MIAA. Wednesday night, the number 3 ranked Jennies traveled to Emporia, Kansas to take on the Emporia State Lady Hornets. The Jennies lost for the first time in 2013, falling 3-1 to ESU. Taylor Goodness led the Jennies with 27 kills. With the loss, the Jennies now 22-1 overall, 8-1 in the MIAA. They did move up one spot to number 3 in this week's ABCA Division II Top 25. The Jennies golf team finished in 11th place out of 17 teams at the MIAA Fall Preview held Monday and Tuesday in St. Charles. Kelly Walker and Kayla Temple paced the Jennies, who wrapped up the fall portion of their season at the event. Jennies soccer is 10-2-2 on the season and ranked 14th this week in NCAA Division II. The Jennies are currently leading the MIAA as they aim for the program's 4th consecutive MIAA title and 6th in 7 seasons. Joining us now to talk Jennies soccer is head coach Lewis Theobald. Lewis, welcome back to Sports Page.
Thanks for having me on.
14 matches in, just 4 left in the regular season, then the postseason. Give us your assessment on how your team has performed to this point.
Ups and downs, like any team, I guess you have ups and downs, but I've been really pleased as of late. I think the last week was a really strong week for us, but we're getting healthy again. This week we'll get some players back, so we still have room to grow, which is exciting. It's been a quick year. It's gone by really fast, and but our kids have been great. They've worked really hard. They're having a good time, so we feel really good about the next couple weeks.
To me, as I look at your team, 10-2-2 right now, the most impressive thing is how you've withstood some significant injuries, some key players missing long stretches of the season, and having the players to step in and keep things rolling.
Yeah, we, at one point we didn't have a goalkeeper. We had to put a field player in goal, and that's unusual. And then we lost a couple of key kind of playmaking kids, kind of like your point guard or quarterback. You don't want to lose those guys. So we're getting them back now, and but it shows our depth. Even though our roster size isn't as big as it's been in the past, we showed our depth, and some kids really stepped up and filled some roles that we needed.
Yeah, you've had a lot of players step up throughout this season. It's interesting as we create the graphics every week, for the superlatives on your team. It seems like we're putting different players down for doing something great in a win every week, and that's always a good sign.
Yeah, it is a great sign, and then also, in the week last week we had 3 games. Each game somebody different stepped up, and that in the same week was pretty incredible. And we even had players coming off the bench having big games. So really excited for our team, and everybody has value, everybody's contributing, and that makes it a really fun year.
You see it. We don't from the outside. You tell me it seems like this group has a pretty special chemistry, which is one of those things you can't coach.
Yeah, really, they're really close-knit, and they're all on the same page, and we've not had any issues. And, no one's really got too down or too high with the victories and losses. They've just really done well socially as well, and it's a fun year. It's one of those ones you don't want to have end ever.
Well, we talked about the fact you're going for your 4th straight MIAA title, your 6th in 7 seasons, a couple of trips to the Sweet 16 mixed in there, and all those NCAA tournaments. So this program is rolling, but one thing about this year's team that I think is a little bit different than a few you've had in the past, your teams have always been known for tremendous defense. This team's putting the ball in the back of the net a little bit more.
Yeah, we found some attacking players, and we have multiple attacking players, and we're pretty athletic in those positions. So we're able to not be one-dimensional. We're able to, kind of have different players do different things and play to different strengths depending on what other teams are doing. And that's something we weren't probably able to do in the past. We were forcing things, trying to play to our strength all the time, and now we've got more than one strength. But, we're still not where we need to be as good as we want to be, but it's been a great start.
Last Friday, you played in some tough conditions down in Edmond, Oklahoma. You're supposed to go down to central Oklahoma and get nice weather. You got anything but nice weather, but boy, your team withstood it, put together a really nice performance against an opponent that is always very, very good as Central Oklahoma. You win that match by a score of 3-0. First, before we look at these Northeastern State highlights, take us through the win against UCO.
Yeah, Central Oklahoma, they've got a great reputation. So they, they had our girls' attention right from the get-go, and we came out well. We only scored 1 in the first half, but I think controlled the game, and then after that, in the second half, kind of ran away with it with getting 2 goals, and then I had to make the long trip back for this game against Northeastern.
Yeah, this was actually your 3rd match in 6 days, and you saw Abby Rhodes, a great throw in there. What a weapon as you scored first in the game. Didn't show any ill effects, really, from the 3rd match in 6 days.
Yeah, not really. I think getting off to the quick start and getting 2 goals early really takes the pressure off us and put a lot on them and put a lot of doubt in their mind. And for us to be able to get 3 against them is really good because they hadn't given up that many all year. So really felt good and comfortable with that. Now our kids, though, needed to recover from the games, and this week was just a week of games. We didn't do too much at practice. It was just recover and go again, and our kids did a good job of staying mentally tough. And with a young team, you're worried about that focus and getting tired and letting that affect your performance. But we thought this might be the week that defined our regular season, and if it is, then we did okay.
Well, when you consider match 3 in 6 days was very physical, 21 fouls, 12 fouls on your opponent in this game, that really to me shows the mental toughness of this team to withstand that after playing so many minutes on the week.
Yeah, you know, I think Northeastern knew this was going to define their year. If they could beat us, they were right in the mix to win the league championship. With a loss, it was going to be very difficult. So they were really motivated and were playing hard. And you know, we ended their season last year, and I think they saw this as an opportunity to come in here and make a statement. And so we were really pleased with how we came and battled and fought, and it became an aggressive, assertive game, and our kids responded.
Looked like you handled the ball pretty well. As I watched these highlights earlier in preparation for the show, your passing, very crisp. You were kind of a step ahead, it appears, the defense.
Yeah, with this, one thing about this team, which probably what's led to more goals, they're a little more technical in terms of just individual skills. We're able to pass and move the ball with everybody on the field, and everybody's pretty comfortable with it, and that's allowed us to you know, allowed us to dictate the tempo of games because we keep it for longer stretches of time.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I noticed as I watched through these highlights. You dictated this game. I mean, you win it obviously convincingly, but you controlled the ball, you controlled the tempo, and the result was an impressive win.
Yeah, and the other thing is I think the kids, the shape and the system that we're in, it's a little bit different than what we've done in the past, but our players have really enjoyed it and bought into it, so it's made them just a little more efficient in it because they believe in it.
Carly Stanley, after a throw-in from Abby Rhodes, there's another one. 3 assists for Abby Rhodes. Her throw-in is quite a weapon, and we saw Carly Stanley with the goal earlier too. Carly had 2 assists at Central Oklahoma, then a goal in this match. So you're talking about a senior and a freshman there really stepping up.
Yeah, well, Abby, that throw-in is unbelievable, especially in the women's game. There's not many guys that can throw it like that. So for her to be able to do that is a real weapon for us. It's like a corner kick nearly when it's deep and puts it right in front of goal. And most teams have a scout on it, but it's still very difficult to defend because there's no offsides on a throw-in, so it goes right on top of the keeper. And then Carly, and you know, Carly's just been Carly, and she's getting better as the year goes on. And you know, she's a great kid, and just yesterday wants to stick around and help coach next year, so we'll see if that happens.
Well, that's great. And there you see some great honors for the team. Kristin Bright, MIAA Defensive Player of the Week. Jessica Grinstaff, MIAA Goalkeeper of the Week. Abby Rhodes with the 3 assists there. I mentioned Carly Stanley, the 2 assists at UCO and the goal. So, again, a lot of players stepping up. Pretty neat to me to see players like Grinstaff and Bright win some MIAA awards, too, because they're kind of unsung heroes in your program.
You know, Jessica transferred in here and is just a great team player and has really stepped up both years that she's played to play minutes and do well. She made a big-time save against Northeastern, so she deserved that award. And then Kristin has been a starter for us ever since she stepped on campus, is a great, positive person to have in our program, and is a really good player. We've been able to move her around because she's one of those players that can play multiple positions. So we're really lucky to have them, and again, it's those kids that you lose every year that you don't want to lose because it's going to be hard to replace them.
Well, it's a good week in the rankings for the Jennies. You moved up 10 spots in the national poll, so you certainly garnered some national respect, up to 14. You've been as high as 11, down to 24, back to 14. But more importantly than that, the first official regional rankings came out yesterday from the NCAA. The Central region is a tough one, and you're ranked 2nd in the region, which quite honestly, Minnesota State, I think, 2 or 3 in the nation right now. They're number 1. They beat you head-to-head in the one opportunity, so you're about right where you would hope to be right now.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to be 2, just based on, you know, all the numbers. But I think the big thing for us was strength of schedule. We went out and played the best teams we could play, and I think that now we're getting rewarded for that. You got to win games as well, but I think, you know, some of the records can be deceiving if you haven't played people, and we certainly have, and it's made us better, and I think it'll make us better going to postseason. And
you're hoping to hang on to one of those top 2 spots, because the way it works in soccer, if you're one of the top 2 in the region, you host half the region. You host and get a bye. So the other teams are playing on a day, 2 days before they play you on your field, and they've had to travel and do all that. So yeah, it's certainly a benefit, and every year we've been the host, we've won, outside of 1 year, I guess, but that's a big advantage, and we'd like to certainly host here and you know, have our kids stay at home for the opening weekend. Yeah, we've only got 2 regular season home matches left. I'm hoping for a whole lot more soccer than that at home. I know you are too. Yeah, there's a chance. You know, we got a good chance of hosting the first round of the conference tournament on Tuesday night, and then
that would be an opening Tuesday night game before the weekend, and then hopefully the NCAA tournament opening rounds.
So 2 matches left this weekend. That's the final guaranteed opportunity, folks, for you to get out there to cheer on the 14th ranked Jennies, but hopefully more opportunities down the road in the postseason for this team. It is hard to believe that we are down the back stretch of the regular season, and if you're watching this on Thursday night, the original airing of the show, Coach Theobald is right now out at South Rec as the Jennies are taking on Missouri Western at 7 o'clock, and that's one I know where Western, Coach, doesn't have the great record, but it's really more about your team coming out, executing, and playing Jenny soccer.
You know, that's what we've struggled with these kinds of games. It's the games where we're supposed to do okay, we've done well, and we've played well. So we have to come in and execute and be the team that we're supposed to be tonight. But, you know, Western's been in a lot of close games, so shouldn't take them lightly.
So, again, that's the Jennies and Missouri Western, and that's a 7 o'clock Thursday night out at the South Recreation Complex. And then Saturday night at 7, you host Northwest Missouri for homecoming. It's nice that your kids get the chance to play on homecoming, plus it's senior night, and that's one of those matches that always has a lot of emotion tied to it.
Yeah, we're hoping, you know, our senior class has been so successful. We're hoping for a nice crowd, and we hope that we, you know, we do well and play well and for them and finish their regular season career at home on a good note.
Yeah, it's one of those, I know that you're hoping again to have more home matches, but that's always an emotional one, isn't it? When you see the parents and the kids out there and you know, for the last time, and they've worked so many years in the game too. It all kind of comes to a head out there, doesn't it?
It does, especially in recruiting, and soccer happens early. We know these kids for so long. You know, we've probably known them for 6 years, and it's just, you know, it's amazing how fast the time goes, and a lot of memories come back that night of the first time they're on campus and all the victories and some of the upsets, and so it's an emotional night, and we're going to have to fight that to play well.
Also neat that your kids get the chance to be at home for homecoming. They'll be a part of the pep rally on Friday night and kind of be a part of the homecoming, which is cool. You don't always get that chance.
We haven't. We went on a streak where we weren't here for like 3-4 years, so it's great to be back, and I know our kids are really excited about being a part of everything, and I think it's just part of the college experience, and that's something we try to sell, is that they're going to be a regular college student, not just a student athlete.
Tonight we spotlight Kristin Bright, a 4-year member of your program, a great player, great student.
Yeah, out of St. Louis, Rockwood Summit, and just a real difference maker from the day she stepped on campus, and she's just a positive person that not just impacts us on the field, but impacts us in every way, and she's somebody we're really proud to be part of our program, and I felt really lucky and fortunate to have her, and she has been a big difference maker in every which way, and this year on the field she's having a great senior year, and I would be surprised if she's not recognized after with some sort of honor.
Well, the seniors are certainly leading this group, had a tremendous week. Down the stretch we go, most important time of the year. What needs to happen for this team to make a long, sustained run in the postseason?
Well, we need to get healthy first. I think players win games, so we need as many healthy players as we can get, and then what needs to happen is we need to mentally and emotionally be prepared to compete each time we step out in postseason, realizing it could be our last game. With a young team, they need to understand what the expectations are and how to execute our game plan and play 90 minutes. We still haven't played a full game. So the best is still in this team. If it comes out in the next few weeks, it could be pretty special.
Well, again, Thursday night, 7, Missouri Western. That's going on right now if you're watching Thursday night. And then Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Northwest Missouri out at South Recreation Complex. Again, that Saturday night match out at South Rec is senior night. Jennies ranked 14th in the country. Final guaranteed opportunity to watch the Jennies, but they'll be home for the postseason for hopefully a few games as well out at South Rec. A great team, great representatives of UCM too, Lewis. You've got some exceptional student athletes in your program.
Yeah, they're really enjoying having the young soccer players out, and we've gone out to some practices and been in the schools, and they are just, I have a great group of kids, and it makes my job a lot easier and a lot more fun when you have kids that really care about our university and our community and want to be involved, and they're great students. So just hope we can keep it going and keep bringing in some more character people to fill the roles.
What a job you're doing. Going for your 4th straight MIAA title, 6th in 7 seasons. Best of luck down the stretch. Thanks for the chat. In just a moment here on Sports Page, we'll shine the Student Athlete Spotlight on the reigning MIAA Defensive Player of the Week, senior Kristin Bright. That's next here on KMOS-TV.
There's definitely a difference between last year's team and this year's team. However, you really can't see that on the field. The only thing is we're just a very young team. I mean, the past couple years we've graduated with a lot of experience, and now it's our class, our senior class, that has all the experience. And we have the privilege of teaching our two younger classes how to act as a UCM Jenny soccer player. So when we graduate this year, they can take that experience that hopefully we have instilled in them and help develop UCM soccer. We are a very close-knit bunch of girls, and being on our soccer team, we're together pretty much 24/7, besides our off days, but I still see girls around campus, so it's like seeing your sister on campus. Just like before practices, after practices, goofing around the locker room, and of course doing activities outside, and just hanging out, but nothing too big. It's just super fun. When I was recruited here by Lewis, I loved the fact how driven he had his program. I love that there were national championships, there were regional championships talked about when I was sitting in his office. But athletics aside, I love the campus. I love that it's a very athletic-based campus. All the teachers are really good with that. Also, they had my major. They had my biology and education, my unified science, which not a lot of schools offer. And so just all of those put together, it was a really good fit. I am continuing to play soccer. I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love that it is a balance of mental, like you're thinking, you're always constantly thinking, as well as I feel like it's a very athletic sport, and so you just have to be very well-rounded when you play, and it's so much fun. Yes, I do consider myself a superstitious player. I mean, you see girls putting on their right side of, your equipment, and then your left side, shoes, shin guards, socks. I'm one of those players, but a pre-game routine before I go on the field, or during when they play the Star Spangled Banner, I kind of put my head down and I think about what Coach wants us to do. I think about my game plan and how I can help the team win in any way possible, whether that's stopping their top score, or if that's getting to the attack that game and taking girls on and pulling crosses. I just have to visualize. So that's probably my main thing that differentiates my superstitions from the other girls. The idol in my life, or soccer, or just life in general, is probably my little sister Casey. She's a freshman at SLU right now, and she plays soccer, and she's probably one of the most put together people, one of my most inspiring people to look up to, even though she is younger than I am. Individually, my goals this year for soccer are just to do all the little things right on the field, and hopefully those little things on the field will help me get those postseason accolades. So whether I get them or not, it doesn't really matter, because I'm more so focused on our team goals, which is to win our MIAA conference, or to win our MIAA conference championship tournament, or to get into the NCAA for our 4th year in a row, and to get a regional ring. Those are probably my team goals that I know that our team right now can accomplish. I would just like to thank everybody for making my time here at UCM so amazing. That's to our coaching staff, to the people on the sideline who follow us on Twitter, who follow us on their live stats, and just support us in any way possible. And then academically to all my professors and my family, and I can go on and on and on, but just thank you.
The senior defender from Rockwood Summit High School is an education biology major. She's earned 2 MIAA Scholar Athlete Awards, and she is a 2-time academic all-district selection on the field. She's helped the Jennies to 3 MIAA titles, 3 NCAA tournaments, and 2 trips to the NCAA round of 16 on the field as well. This past week, Bright was honored as the MIAA Defensive Player of the Week as the Jennies won 3 matches in a span of 6 days. Kristin and several of her teammates will celebrate senior night Saturday at 7 p.m. as the Jennies host Northwest. In just a moment, we'll tell you where all the Mules and Jennies are competing this weekend as Sports Page continues right after this. For one final time this week, welcome back to Sports Page. Before we put the finishing touches on this week's show, let's run down our upcoming schedule of events so you know where to follow the Mules and Jennies. And we start with Mules football. It's homecoming week at UCM. This Saturday, the football Mules will host the Northeastern State Riverhawks in the homecoming football game. Kickoff is set for 1:30 p.m. from Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field. We'll have the broadcast on 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, and via the internet and your smartphone at warrensburgradio.com beginning at 12:10 p.m. The UCM Media Network will produce a pay-per-view video webcast as well. You can find that link at ucmathletics.com. In other MIAA games this week, Nebraska Kearney is at SBU. Lindenwood is at 10th-ranked Washburn. 12th-ranked Pittsburgh State is at number 4 Missouri Western. Missouri Southern is at number 2-ranked Northwest Missouri, and Fort Hays State is at Lincoln. The 14th-ranked Jennies soccer team is hosting Missouri Western Thursday night at South Rec. On Saturday, the Jennies will host Northwest Missouri at 7 p.m. at South Rec on senior night. The number 3-ranked Jennies volleyball team travels to Joplin next Tuesday for a 7 p.m. match with Missouri Southern. The UCM cross-country teams will compete in the MIAA championships on Saturday in Pittsburgh, Kansas. The Mules are ranked 14th in the nation entering the conference event. And the Mules and Jennies basketball teams will host Meet the Mules and Jennies on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at the Multi. The event is free and open to the public. Both teams will scrimmage and sign autographs, and the UCM pep band, cheerleaders, and mule kickers will perform at the event. And that's it for another edition of Sports Page. We hope you enjoyed the show, and until next week, for our entire crew, this is Sean Jones saying thanks for watching the Central Missouri Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. Support for Sports Page is provided by Union Station, crossroads to technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs, campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, crossroads to technology. And promotional support for Sports Page is provided by 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, and WarrensburgRadio.com. 1450 Cocoa, 98.5 The Bar, and WarrensburgRadio.com, the radio home of UCM Athletics.